Today's show is super high energy. We talk about how Ammar saw something at auction, actually a valuable 2-letter domain that both Drew and Braden missed. Just the opportunities that are available. The sentiment that all the good names are gone or that all the top dogs are getting them is just not the case. We discuss wholesale end user margins, changes in their next generation of domain investors, how to grow your bankroll for investing. We have some very specific examples of like theword.com versus word.io versus word.co, Brandable versus product versus service. Very interesting show with a ton of specific examples for investors. Plus, over the top entertaining. Enjoy the show. Hey, Sherpa Network. We have a great show coming today with some gentlemen who are a little tough to wrangle. Welcome to the DomainSherpa Review. I'm Tess Diaz, executive producer of DomainSherpa.com. And today we get into the minds of successful domain name investors using real examples so we can learn strategies and tactics to become better investors ourselves. We have 3 segments to the review. We're going to begin discussing what the Sherpas recently bought or sold and what's going on in the market today. Next, we'll discuss some domains going to auction soon at NameJet.com and whether the Sherpas think they're a good investment opportunity for you. And after that, we will be discussing some stuff about the how we usually review domain investor portfolios and what we think about it. And of course, then what's going on in the world. So welcome. Hey guys, how you doing?
Great, thank you. Good to see you.
Good.
Yeah, this is a great crew. I like the 3 of you together. So, Ammar Kubba of Afterthought, entrepreneur, investor, and advisor. Hi, Ammar. How you doing?
Fantastic. Thank you.
Braden Pollock of Legal Brand Marketing. Hey, Braden. What's going on?
Howdy. All good here. Enjoying my quarantine.
Howdy. You don't look very cowboy-y. You look like the most LA person ever.
Oh, because I live out in the country now, you mean?
I don't know, because you said howdy.
Oh, yeah, well, you know,
all right,
I do that. I also say groovy. I'm trying to bring that back.
Oh, all right. Let's
Groovy.
get it into this call. Andrew Rosener, CEO of MediaOptions.com, the domain brokerage firm. Hello, Andrew. How you doing?
I'm good.
Are you good or
Tired?
are you groovy?
Was not very convincing.
Yeah, I'm not groovy today. I'm good. I'm good, but not groovy. I'm lack of sleep. But otherwise, outside of sleep, I'm great.
I think Drew's on the verge today. I think we can probably push him over the edge a little bit and get some really great footage of him talking some shit about something.
Ooh, I like this.
Yes, if you push the right buttons, you will get some shit today. That's true.
I like how Drew had less sleep than I did, but I like how both of us are super sleep deprived, and I'm like, coffee up, and you're not.
That's a giant mug. That mug looks like as big as your head.
I normally use the DomainSherpa mug all the time, not just when I'm filming, but today I wanted the larger mug, and it is the one that Ammar now wants to buy his sister. It's my Mother's Day gift. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Happy Mother's Day. Love your second born. Shall we get started?
Let's do it.
All right.
First segment, what's new Sherpas? So purchase or sale that you've made over the past few weeks. What you don't say anything except the domain at first. Then we'll discuss how the whole deal went down. Let's see. Number 1, Ammar.
Okay, so normally I talk about sales. We'll talk about a purchase. Now this is one I bought in auction. So if you guys already know the price, I'll choose a different one. But je.net.
Ooh, I know.
I remember seeing that.
I feel like I missed that. I like the 2-letter .nets. We've got quite a few of them. I like them.
Huh?
I don't know. I missed that, so I don't know the price.
So then let's go with that. je.net.
I'm gonna say you bought it for $12,000.
right, I'm gonna take the over. 12.5.
The price was, you guys aren't too far off, but the price was $8,250.
Oh, wow.
I thought that was
Wow,
a pretty
good.
good price.
Yeah,
Good
it's not bad.
price. Good price.
Yeah.
Good price.
So, and I went and I looked back because I know Braden's in the .NET, the good .NETs a lot. I see him, and you weren't bidding in that one, Braden.
Where was it? Was it
Are
NameJet?
you upset? I mean, if I was, you'd be paying more.
Yeah, it was a NameJet.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember seeing it. I don't remember why. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
So just for some context, the other thing I like about that is we know that I like names that are in that can have value for more than one reason. So JE in French is je, which means I. So it also has a lot of value, and I believe the French actually don't mind the .NETs; they like them, and I think it's more generally in Europe they don't they're less averse to .NETs. I believe.
Yeah, I'd like to just push back on that thought a little bit.
Okay.
It's not that you're wrong. It's just that
you're not right.
It's not that you're wrong, but you're wrong.
So they're not entirely opposed to the .NETs, but it's only because they won't pay up for the .com or the local CCTLD, and so they'll take the .NET as the, you know.
Well, I guess, yeah, that's what I'm saying is I feel like, okay, so I understand your point, but I guess what I meant was they seem to sell better. The .NETs seem to sell better. I get more interest in
I think that
.NETs.
yeah, okay, that's fair.
But,
I mean, you've got an amazing portfolio of .NET, so I
but
would.
that one in particular, like I said, like I is just such a powerful word,
Totally.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just thought that has two indicators of value. It's a two-letter and it's a word.
Yeah.
So that's why I liked it, and I felt like that's a pretty good price.
Combination I want to point out for the Sherpa network of being a two-letter has tremendous value no matter what, and that .NET sells a little better in European countries, and it being a word in a very
So the selling better
country in all of Europe.
Right. Well, so look, I was gonna say the selling better is was really not that important to me. It was two letters and it's a word, and I paid $8,000. I mean, I gotta think I can wholesale that tomorrow for $25K, right? Like,
wholesale no, but probably like 12
or 15, okay. Right?
Yeah, but I guess I'm saying, like, I don't think I have any chance of losing money there. I feel like
that's what I love about those names. It's like, you know, upside, who knows? It's probably, you know, a 4 to 5x, could be 10 on the upside. But there's zero downside. Like, you know, I would have paid 10. And so, you know, you're in the money already.
So if you want to make a 25% ROI, you can do it right now.
Ammar's going to do this for 25% ROI.
I'm I'm like 0 for 100 on trying to buy names live on DomainSherpa. Nobody ever takes my offers.
I'm surprised no one made fun of Ammar for bringing up the French again. What was that name, Vry, that you just could not get enough of? I mean, I think we had 2 shows all about that.
Yeah. So those.
Let's not have a third.
Right. There you go. There you go.
Very nice. Just a quick question. Why, I mean, Braden and Drew, you are so active on NameJet. Was this just like a bad week for you guys? Or did you search a certain way or do something different because I imagine our whole audience is like, I want to get the one that none of these guys see.
I mean, I'm not actually very active lately on NameJet at all. I've definitely been less active. But and that particular when I went back and I looked, I don't think Braden was even in the auction. Drew was, but he didn't bid. So it could have been just a random, you know,
off
lucky day.
I think it was just an off day because I don't really remember. I remember several two-letter.nets came up and they were going to auction, but I don't remember ever bidding on them. So I don't know what happened. But yeah, I missed it. But I've also been less active, and I'm still. I go in a couple times a day in my NameJet, look at what names are going to end today. I'll throw some proxies on. I'm rarely bidding at the end anymore.
Oh, go ahead.
And then, but what I've been really bad at lately was going through expired lists, going through, you know, what do you call
the
pre-release? Yeah. I just haven't been going through the lists. And so I'm just in a lot less auctions.
Yeah. Like as an investor, that would put fire in my belly of like, you know, some people, all the good names are gone or it's too hard to bid against these guys. It's like, no, every day is different. Hustle
every day.
You're going to catch something on.
Look, I mean,
everybody else was busy. There's a lot.
It's kind of random. I mean, I'll pick up names that you know at the live auctions where I get a steal and I'm sitting in the room with everybody else. I don't know why they didn't continue bidding, or on NameJet or GoDaddy or any of these other platforms where, like, I don't know why I got it that cheap, right?
Yep.
But I also don't see them all. Just like I don't know why I didn't bid on J. I don't have any two-letter.nets, and I have a lot of one-word.net. So I don't know why.
Yeah, there's so much opportunity. That's great.
You can't buy everything. You can't own everything. I mean, there are, to your point earlier, what you were just saying, I really disagree with the sentiment that there's no good deals anymore. There's no opportunities. I feel like there are plenty of opportunities. They're just different. You have to be
totally.
You have to be smart about where you're looking, and you have to adapt and look for opportunities. Change, and that can happen from day to day, week to week, month to month, and year to year for sure, right? So the opportunities today are different than they were a year ago, and definitely different than they were 20 years ago when Rick Schwartz was picking up his names, right? So or 25 years ago, it's just different.
Well, but they're different and they're the same because of there's so much volume, right? So there are different strategies, but they're also the same strategies. Like,
is that kind of like being right but also being wrong?
Exactly. Exactly. Look,
same, only different.
Same, different. Same.
Same, only different.
That there's still opportunity is that we are still buying and selling names. We're not selling names that we bought 15. We are selling names we bought 15 years ago, but we're also selling names that we bought last year.
No, but Braden, I think people, so one of the things that people, I hear from a lot of newer investors, they're like, oh, well, it's hard for a newer investor that doesn't have the same bankroll to come in and compete. And my point is you can compete on a different level or in a different arena and find different segments of opportunity. So that's the part I fundamentally disagree with. You can, it might take longer, but it's just a different order of magnitude, right? So you can be competing in the sub $1,000 names and still there's still a bunch of great opportunities in the sub $1,000 names, and you flip them and you flip them and you flip them and you grow your bankroll. And next thing you know, in a year or two, you're competing in the $10,000 names, right?
I mean, I'll tell you, I'm fascinated. I haven't had the time lately to be overly fascinated, but I am fascinated by this whole new class. I mean, we're on here, we're like, old farts of domains, but which is such a weird thing at this point. But anyways, there's this whole new class of domain investors that literally all they do is mess with these under $1,000 domains, and they're flipping them, and they're doing it daily, and they're making money, and they're growing. And, it's almost like how the millennials and like Gen X and above don't really intermingle in like the world of finance, the world of business. It's like just two different things. And it's kind of, I'm seeing the same thing in domaining. And there's a whole new class, and these guys are finding their own ways. They've got different rules than we played by. They're just doing things a little different, but they're making a business and they're making money. I would say, I think margins are going to be squeezed going forward a bit, just between wholesale and end user. But I think that the opportunity to participate has never been greater. Really, like I think that.
Well, there's more tools. There's
there's
more outlets. There's
so much less risk.
Right. And
so much
and
better
the market's
education, understanding, much bigger market, right? More liquidity, more people participating. So it's like you go buy the domain in an auction. You know, if there was 5 people in that auction 5 years ago, there's now 30 people in that auction today, and that means that the margin between what you paid in that auction and what the guy below you or the guy below that is willing to pay if you change your mind is smaller. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say, you know, risk is being
reduced,
decreased.
Big words. Risk is being reduced. And,
risk smaller.
Risk smaller. You see, the risk is getting smaller, and the profit margins are also getting a bit smaller. But the reality is that there is more opportunity, probably less downside.
More opportunity is getting larger.
Yeah.
But I do worry a little bit about what's happening in the GoDaddy auctions, also in the drop catch auctions.
In what
do
sense?
Feel like, in the sense that the prices are high, and I'm seeing some of the people who are buying them, and I think some people are buying or bidding up that maybe aren't as experienced and maybe getting in over their heads. And so I don't know.
Time will tell. Or they're going to come and prove us wrong and be like, you guys were sleeping. Because this is also what I'm trying to figure out in my own head. I mean, I've got my little folder of purchases here from the last, let's say, since the beginning of the month that need to be entered into QuickBooks. And, you know, it's like, you know, maybe there's, I don't know, Tess, I forwarded them to you. I mean, how many have we bought in them last month? Maybe
you missed my names a minute ago.
I don't know, 15, 20 names, you know, but if you went back 2 years, it would have been 50, 60 names.
Right. Yeah.
And the majority of the reason is that I'm just being priced out. And so I have, you know, to your point, you have to ask, are we being priced out because we haven't shifted our value proposition, you know, like how we value these names? So we're just getting priced out of the market, or is the market overheating and we are value investors? You know, we're like Warren Buffett on the sidelines right now, and it's all the retail investors. It's what's the Barstool Sports guy?
Oh, Portnoy.
Portnoy, yeah. There's like, you know, we've got you know, a handful of these new guys that are now the Dave Portnoy of the domain aftermarket.
Right.
And
I mean, you could be right. Maybe in a year from now they'll be laughing and we'll be like, oh shit, we missed out.
Or they'll be gone and we'll be buying up the ones they overpaid on.
Yeah, you guys are at top level and you're not going to invest in anything that you're not going to get 10 plus X on. And a lot of people are perfectly happy to, you know, what is the phrase? Cut their chops? What do you do with chops?
Oh.
Something. I don't know. But
this is like a geriatric DomainSherpa show.
Leave me out of this, Drew. I'd prefer when you say old fart and geriatric that you qualify. I don't count in that.
They cut their teeth.
Look at that face. Clearly you don't count.
Oh, well done, Drew.
All right. Who's next on
that's a pro. That comes with time and experience.
Look, to Drew's point, I think it's a combination of both. I think the market is overheating a little bit because there's a lot of new investors with more time on their hands. They're not betting on sports, and they may have pulled out of the market, so they're putting their money elsewhere, and including this, right? And so I think.
But this was happening before COVID. I'm not even sure if it's overheated more during COVID. It certainly isn't less.
It has.
But it has it. You think that it's gone?
Yeah. Over the last few months, it's gone up. It's been going up, right? It's an upward trend, right? But it's been an upward trend since we've all been in the business, right? But it's definitely increased dramatically over the last few months. But why I say I think both scenarios are true is, I think it's overheating, and I think it'll simmer a little bit over time. as people kind of go back to work and they're not at home bidding on auctions. But at the same time, this is still an upward trend. So values, this is still an increasing asset class, right? The values are still going up. And so while we're looking for 10x, the newbies are like, Jesus, if I could triple my money over the next couple of years, fantastic, right?
Yeah.
They're thrilled with that, but we hold a lot of inventory.
Honestly, what I'm seeing is people that are like, look, I'm going to buy this domain for $200 and I'm going to sell it for like $275 and be super happy about it.
Yeah,
and nothing wrong with that, right? Like in a world where, you know, you go buy a U.S. Treasury bond and you're going to make less than 1%, you're going to make like 0.7%, you know, to make 30%, 50%, 100%, 200% is absurd.
It's
if you have conviction in the asset.
I mean, how many times has somebody said, listen, you know, I'll give you bought a name for $5,000 and somebody offers you 10, you're like, forget it. I'm not going to double.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, get out of here.
Nuts, right?
Yeah.
And, like, that's unheard of because in our little bubble, we want 10x. The whole rest of the world would double their money in a heartbeat, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't even think twice.
All day long, right?
Yep.
So you get the new investors from the outside world, they come in and they're like, Jesus, if I can make 50% on my return in a year, sure. So it's $1,000 or $10,000 or $500, or you get people in you know, other countries where if they can make an extra couple $100 a month, you know, that's great.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So both are true is my point. It's the prices are getting squeezed, it'll simmer, but at the same time, you know, values are going up and people have you know, different goals.
Yeah.
Well said.
They're not holding the inventory. You know, we hold millions of dollars worth of inventory.
That's right.
They're not
That's
doing
right. They're flipping.
They don't need to make this.
They're turning this stuff. That's right. That's right.
Braden, what did you buy or sell lately?
Oh, let's do I just sold a name. I sold moodring.com.
Oh man, you know, I remember.
I was bidding on that one. I remember that.
I was too. I remember that.
This is always going to be the case, right? And I was willing to pay more than you were. Let me see what
we even had that one. We had that one in our Media Options SEO newsletter back in November 2019.
Did you?
Yep. That was in our Media Options SEO newsletter.
So it was expired auction in November. That all
bid on. Yeah, it was a GoDaddy auction.
Okay, but what do you think he sold?
I don't know what it ended at.
Is the big
question. I love that name. Moodring.com is such a good domain.
It was in it was November. I bought it November 14th.
And just to be positive, this is
I just told you, November 12th, we had it in our newsletter, our SEO newsletter for Media Options, which was, you know, exclusively listing GoDaddy expiring domain auctions. And that had SEO juice. That name had some SEO juice.
Is singular mood ring, one mood ring.
Yeah.
You can't have two mood rings, Tess. I mean, you can only have one mood at a time.
All right, Drew, you're first.
I'm gonna say $75,000.
I'm gonna say I'll take the under. Because it's a great name. I just don't know the end user, what their use case is and what they would do with it. So I think it's actually under 50K. That's an Aura, right?
Yeah.
I got my Aura right here.
I think that, oh yeah, I got mine right here. I think that.
People who only listen to the podcast really missed out.
Yeah.
Hey, but do you have the Stealth Heritage one, or do you have are you
Stealth Heritage, baby?
Pay up for that? Oh, okay, there we go. I guess we have good taste.
To our beloved podcast.
I was going to order one.
There's a lot of middle finger happening.
I was going to order one, and then I was like, you know what? I'm going to wait till it comes out to see if it's a dog, because I keep ordering stuff like.
Oh no, it's amazing! It's amazing!
It's fantastic.
Dog.
And then I get these crappy products.
No.
This was a dog. I bought this, the Remarkable.
Yeah, it sucks. I actually have that. I was thinking about getting it.
I used it for like 3 days. It literally has been on my desk for 6 months. Okay. I literally haven't touched it since.
Okay.
So that
there's a
also
new
just be
one.
me.
There's a new one that's
There's
coming
a
out
new one
tomorrow
that
too.
looks way cooler. That also turned me off. I almost started using it again, and then I was like so pissed off that they just suddenly came out with a new one, like 8 months after launching, and it was like, screw you. You're like being Apple.
Right. But Braden
didn't earn the right to be Apple yet.
Yeah. The Aura is really useful. It's
super legit. Missed something because we were talking about mood rings, and you guys showed your rings, and now you're talking about the Remarkable, the paper tablet, and I don't know what the connection is. What am I missing?
We're talking about buying products that subsequently sit around doing nothing because they're useless.
So Aura was, it was pre-order for a long, long time, and I'm always buying pre-order stuff, and then it comes out and it's a piece of shit. And so this time, instead of taking like the 20% discount or whatever, I'm just gonna wait to see if it's worth it. I can't tell you how many things that I've ordered on like Indiegogo, and I paid the $350 and then it never shows up. Like 90% of the time, you never get it. So now I just look at the stuff to come out and make sure that it's good, and then I work.
This is super legit. Yeah.
Great.
So this gave me an entirely new perspective on my sleep and my habits, and actually the Aura ring was basically responsible for me to stop drinking alcohol. I mean, the last couple of months I've started drinking again, but for like 6 months I was basically drinking zero alcohol, and it was purely because I realized it was like abundantly clear. If I drink alcohol after like 8 p.m., I wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and my
elevated heart rate,
elevated temperature, intermittent, waking up during the night, just poor quality of sleep every time I drink alcohol at night.
Yeah, that's right. And or eat late, but
and eat late, exactly, same thing.
So
you can see your metabolism kick in during the night. You're like, oh, spike up, and then your temperature's up, your heart rate's up. Your heart rate doesn't come down until like 30 minutes before you wake up in the morning, and then you never really got your full recovery.
Exactly.
You see, we all have the attention span of like a newborn puppy.
Right. So moodring.com, 50K. I'm going to take the under number. I'm going to say 50K.
Okay.
I'm at 75. He's at 50.
You're holding on to 75, Drew. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I bought this 7 months ago, right? 8 months ago. And both
4 figures.
What?
You bought it for 4 figures.
Both of you bailed out. So what would you guys have paid for this? Because you both were in the auction and stopped bidding, which is the conversation we were just having about.
Right.
We're all.
Things. I think I would have gone up to. I don't remember the auction, but I maybe got distracted or something. But if it were an auction today, I would pay somewhere between 2,500 and 5K.
That's $5,000 is the number I was going to say too. You know what the problem is though for me lately is that like honestly, there's so many good names coming to auction that I'm finding myself really like stretched between like, all right, I can't buy everything. So if there's like Mood Ring might have been on the day when there was like 2 other names, and I was like, oh, but I really want those ones.
Exactly.
And so then it influences which names I'm allocating the resources to. And then when you end up not winning any of them, you're like,
right.
Okay, so I'm going to start with what I paid.
Okay.
I paid $2,500 for it.
Oh,
you stole it. Yeah, you stole it. So you sold it for $25,000, $30,000.
So I got a good price for it. Both you guys, for whatever reason, bailed out. I mean, now
I don't know why.
You're both saying, I would have paid that.
Yeah, totally.
At least, if not twice that. I had it listed at $65,000 with plenty of room to move down. They came in, their opening offer was 30.
Wow.
And we went back and forth, and they would not move. That was their highest and best.
How did you come in? What platform?
Off the lander.
On
Uni. Okay. I'm using the Uni landers. That was their highest and best, and I was at 65 and came down to 45, which they agreed to, and then they backed out of the 45 the CEO stepped in and was like, nope, 30 is our best. That's it. Not going to do any more. And I decided to take it because I just bought it late last year.
Yeah, I actually think I think that's a reasonable price. Like I said, I don't see a huge end user use case for it. I think it's a great brand. That's why I like the name. I don't see a huge end user use case. I mean, it's cool.
No, but it's brand. And the proof is I haven't had it for very long, right? Half a year and it's sold.
Yeah.
For
no, but I mean,
12 times what I paid for it.
Wearable tech is, as much wearable tech as there is right now, that category is going to explode.
Yeah.
And, Mood Ring, it's a great brand for some piece of wearable
for
tech.
some kind of wearable. And,
it'll probably tell you what your mood is, but it'll also diagnose cancer,
and I guess I was thinking of it more of a novelty item, but yes, I could see somebody, I don't know that an Aura would be called a mood ring, but I could see somebody going off for that. It's good, but I think that's a good sale, Braden. I don't think it's bad at all.
Yeah. Right.
Totally.
Yeah, I started higher, but it's, sometimes, for 12X in 7 or 8 months, there's no reason to walk away from that. And I don't know how long I'll hold on to it. So, I mean, maybe if it was 5 times, I still might have taken it because it hasn't been that long, but I certainly got the spread that I wanted, and could it be worth more? Yeah, but sometimes it's worth just taking the money.
I just want to make an observation here. There's exactly 30,000 exact match searches globally for Mood Ring, and I always say back of the napkin. If you have no tools and you're just back of the napkin trying to figure out what's the name worth, and what the exact match search volume is, if it's U.S. focused, so if it's a service like insurance, then you should only be looking at U.S. traffic. If it's a product that's global or potentially has a global audience, and look at global traffic. 30,000 exact match searches. Put a dollar a click as just your baseline, and 30 grand, right? So, your back of the napkin math lines up beautifully on this.
Wow.
It's funny. There's actually 26,000 exact match searches in the United States alone for Mood Ring colors, and only 18 for Mood Ring. Strange.
I have a question. Braden, if you hadn't taken that offer, how long do you think it would have been before you got another offer? That doesn't seem like something that's going to have an offer, once every 2 months. Do you think it would have been a year or more, or no?
Yeah. I mean, I when I buy names, I anticipate holding on to them for, 7 years. That seems to kind of be an average, 5 to 10, which is fine. When you get 10X or 20X on a name, it's okay to hold it that long. They're all like lottery tickets. You never know which one's going to hit and when. I have sold names the day after I bought them, a week after I bought them. I registered a domain. It was literally it was a drop last month, and the day after that I bought it on the drop, an inquiry came in, and total coincidence. This person didn't see it drop. That was just a brand she came up with. It was literally the next day, and the inquiry came through the parking company because it was still the parking or the drop company's lander was on it, hadn't even transferred to me yet. Wow. Which is odd. I didn't even know they did that, but and I actually haven't closed that deal yet, but it's just a coincidence. You never know when that inquiry is going to come in.
Super interesting. But I do take, where am I with my sayings? I take exception to drink more coffee. I take exception to comparing domains to lottery tickets. I know you didn't mean it exactly like that, but I mean, you guys are very smart investors who know what you're investing in. The lottery ticket part is just what day are you going to get the inquiry and
It's timing.
Whatever X. That's not guaranteed, but that's obvious.
Yeah, look, it's a bad analogy in that a lottery ticket is either worth something or it's worth nothing. Right. And so I'm not making that comparison. I'm making the comparison that I don't know what's going to hit and when.
Yeah.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
I use that analogy, but as a sort of as a supplement. So I always say like that, domain names, a good domain name purchase is a great usable asset with a lottery ticket attached. So it's supplemental to the utility value.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, Drew, what'd you buy or sell lately?
So, which one was it? Oh, I was gonna. Okay, I bought transcribe.com.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Transcription is a big thing. All right. Transcribe.com. The verb, get her done.
You bought it.
Yep.
I bought it.
That's a great name. But you got to have room for upside. I'm going to say you paid. Was it where'd you buy it? An auction or from a?
I bought it from somebody.
From somebody, okay. I'm
They
going to say
came
you paid.
to me.
I'm going to say you paid $40K.
I'm going to say you paid, I'm going to take the over again and go with 45. Maybe even more, maybe 50.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a great name. I'm just I want to have room for upside.
Look at Drew smiling.
So you guys, bang on. I paid 50.
Nailed it.
Boom!
50 all in. And I agree with Ammar. I mean, I really liked it at 40. That was, I think I offered 30, then 35, then 40. And, the guy just he just wasn't moving. And he might have been a little bit higher. And then he just came to 50 and that we settled there. And then, but, it's one of these names that it's like, it's such a big business. It's such a great name. It's a brand, but it's also a category defining domain. It's also a call to action.
Yeah.
And so it also had some SEO juice. It used to be, an actual business. And so, I looked at it and it was like, probably not, certainly not 10x, but it could be a 5x, and it's probably a quite easy 3x ish, and with virtually no downside. You
just got to wait. You just got to wait.
Exactly. It's a waiting game. That's it.
Well, because and also everything's moving towards voice, and so when you move towards voice, you're going to need transcription. So
I mean, the world of podcast, everybody and their uncle now has a podcast. Every one of them needs a transcription. We at DomainSherpa, we've been fighting with transcription and how to do it, who to use for years. And, it's a pain. We have the same problem with Entrepreneur. And, there's
constant change in the transcription market too, because what'll happen is we'll have a transcription service, it's all good, and then all of a sudden they'll jack up their prices, and then a new service comes out and they're better, they have different automation, and they're cheaper. And then, I mean, it's happened over and over, which is just a sign of a lot of change, a lot of innovation. That's
my only fear is that it'll ultimately become a commodity. And so, you'll have Amazon, Google, all these guys with really powerful machine learning and AI and just being able to do this stuff.
It will become a commodity, and I would argue maybe it's already there or close to there, but that doesn't diminish the value of the name. So I still think the name is a fantastic name, but the service will become commoditized, just like translation, right? So I mean, it's really adjacent to translation. It's kind of like translation of the same language in a sense, right?
Exactly. Yes.
I don't understand what you just said. I don't understand.
You got to chop your teeth. Welcome to
the geriatric episode of DomainSherpa, everybody.
No. She's got to cut her chops.
I understand that it is a service, but I don't understand what that means to commoditize a service.
Once it becomes automated, then it's easy to offer it, and everyone can provide it because it's an automated service. It doesn't require people. It's just
okay. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All righty. Let's take a moment for our geriatric sponsors.
This is brought to you by Centrum Silver.
FD was built by domain investors to increase your inquiries, sales, and profit. Forget spreadsheets and archived emails. Manage your entire investment portfolio in one place using a secure and completely confidential platform. Learn more at ft.com. That's EFTY, ft.com.
So, time for the NameJet list, unless you want me to pause it.
No, let's go.
Good. NameJet, Braden, you're up first. What do you think?
Okay, so let's see. What do I like? I like The Dance. I like the names. They sell well. They're a great alternative to the oneword.com because, that's the oneword.com is obviously the most expensive of any version of a name. So you can get it at a fraction of the price by getting the .io or the .net or adding the to the .com. So that's a good name. I'm not a big fan in general of oneword.orgs, but I like elephants.org. I like the word elephants with the .org because there's so many nonprofits that are elephant related. So I think that's a good combination. And then Chinese.org. I mean, Chinese is just it's a strong SLD. So I think that's a decent word or domain.
With the .org attached?
But it was before coronavirus.
Now it's kungfu.org.
I'm not touching that. Letting that go. I'm moving on. Just moving on before you guys say something.
All right, folks.
Edit it out.
Thedance.com. How do you think somebody would make a choice between that or dance.io? Do you think they're equal in value or different in value?
That's an excellent question. I haven't compared. That would be an interesting blog post for all you bloggers out there. If you want to compare the names to the sale prices to .net and .io for just the keyword, that would be an interesting thing to do, which I haven't done. But I would say they're probably comparable, maybe even depending on the keyword, the might be a little bit better.
I think it depends on the use case, right? So if it's a tech company and offering a service or a product online, I would think that the .io or the .co is going to be better.
Yeah.
If it's more of a brandable, I actually think the dance is better. The dance.com is going to be better for certain like a media company or something like that. I would pick the dance.com over dance.co or dance.io. But if I'm a online like product or service, I'm probably going to pick the dance.io or dance.co.
If it's a place like a brick and mortar location, then
I think I'd pick the.
Yeah.
And then we have a whole nother thing added in on this one, that dance is both a noun and a verb. So
right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to know there are so many factors for consideration.
What do you think about that, Drew? Would you pick the dance.com or dance.io or dance.co or something like that?
I think it's name specific. I used to have also a strong proclivity towards the followed by whatever .com. I've become more selective with those. So I'm really only interested in the ones that really make sense. But I like the dance, as in, the last dance.
Right.
What about the first dance?
Well, the Michael Jordan, was it the Michael Jordan documentary? It's the last dance, right?
Yeah. No, right. But yeah, there's a lot of the something dance or the
Yeah.
Or their dance is also what they call the I think that's what the NCAA tournament, right?
Yeah. Also, yeah, great. That's great analogy. Yep. So,
just not good with the sports references.
I think at this one, I definitely take the czar.com, right? 100%. There are other use cases where it's like very specifically, like clearly going to be a tech product or a tech company. And then I'd probably lean more towards .io or .co. But to be honest with you, you know, I went through a short phase of starting to like and participate in more of the .io auctions. And honestly, I'm kind of done. I've doubled down in my .com maximalism. It really is just a waste of freaking time and money to buy anything else. If you ask me, the reality is my experience, my personal experience.
Yeah.
You know, having dabbled in all sorts of shit, I literally do not find myself selling anything but .com.
There's a lot.
I've sold a bunch of .io one words. .io and .co one word sell.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But relative, like on a percentage basis, if I look at, let's say I have 100 .ios and I've got 200 .cos. I sell 2 .ios a year. I sell 1 or 2 .cos a year versus we have, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 .coms and call it probably 5,000, 4,000 to 5,000. And, you know, we sell 1 almost every day.
But do you think the difference is the quality? Because your .coms are not like other people's .coms, and they're certainly not comparable to the .io.
No, because I mean, you know, I think of our top 200 names, which, you know, are a different category, you know, we only sell maybe 2 or 3 of those a year. Of the you know, all those other sales are all from the, you know, the other.
Okay, so they're comparable, is what you're saying, or more or less.
I would argue that the IOs and the COs, they're much more speculative, right? Even though they may sell. I mean, what's the likelihood of, let's use the term dance, like dance.com. Does that have value? I mean, that's liquid, right? I mean, you could sell that tomorrow to another investor, but dance.net, dance.co, dance.io. I mean, they're certainly less value, fine, but you could still get the ROI potentially. But are those as liquid? Not.
Well, if you,
I mean, I feel like
if you
Federal Reserve is intervening into the domain aftermarket on GoDaddy, because I mean, I'm seeing .nets that I used to be able to pick up for a couple $100. It's like there's an amazing list of .nets for sale right now on GoDaddy. Amazing ones, like really great ones, and they're going for real money. Where I 6 months ago, a year ago, we probably would have been Ammar and I betting for those. Like,
those are all my bids, but just want to
Can I just say, no one? I mean, like, so NameJet, our sponsor, yes, we think thedance.com is excellent. However, during the course of this conversation, dance.io, like, I want it. And nobody owns it. It's reserved by the registry. How do you buy .o domains reserved by the registry? And what would you guys pay for it?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know that dance.io is, that's weird. They would be reserved by the registry. So
they have a lot of reserves.
Really? Do they? Okay. But I will push back a little bit on what you guys were saying in terms of what's liquid and what's not, right? So you're going to pay a very different number for dance.com than you will for dance.io, right? So if you can get dance.io for $500, I think that's a no-brainer.
You can.
Yes, you can. I'm getting one word .ios. Drew, I'm getting one word .ios, good ones, for under $1,000.
Right now, like recently?
Yes. You just got to know. So I think it helps to have a good vocabulary, because sometimes you're seeing things that other people aren't.
So Josephine's helping you? You're saying?
Josephine picks all the names for me because I'm an idiot. So I outsource my thinking to Josephine, which which has helped a lot in my life in the last few years.
You wasted your time to go to law school. You could have been actually studying something useful.
But I gave an example on a recent Sherpa social, or DN Academy social, where I've sold 2 one-word.ios. I actually think I undersold them, but those are both one-word.ios that I got for under $1,000. I sold primer.io and telepath.io, both of them for 10K. And I bought both of those for under $1,000. And I held them both for less than a year, Drew.
I mean, we own mortgage.io, loan.io. You know,
so here's the thing.
I'm telling you, the highest offer we've ever had for loan.io is like $2,500.
That's not a brand.
Right. So that's the.
What are you talking about?
I was just about to say.
Who is the biggest user of .ios? It is fintech by far. Whether it's crypto or fintech, but by far, fintech is the biggest adopter of .io domains.
So loan.io is better than mortgage.io.
Amazing brand.
Right. That's a great one. But how much do you want for it?
20, 25.
Okay, I'll give you 10K right now. I'll offer you 10K.
Dun, 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 dun.
Sure, you've always wanted a successful transaction live.
Well, I want to buy. I'm a buyer. I don't like selling things.
Counter offer, Drew, with a different domain.
Drew, here's the thing. You're gonna make good money on that. You just got to hold on to it. Mortgage, I don't like as much, but loan is great. Loan is a great name. So I don't know how much you paid for it, but you're not gonna lose money on that. That's a great name.
Unless you sell it to Ammar right now.
Let's see, what did I pay for this?
I'm looking it up right now.
I think actually I paid a high price.
You did.
But I think it was like a trade deal. Yeah, we paid 11. Okay. But it was like, I don't think it was.
I'm right on. I think 10K is a fair price.
We paid 11, but it was like there was some cash and trade involved. I don't remember.
That's how you valued it. You valued your basis as 11K.
Yeah. And then we got borrowed. We got borrowed.
You bought that in 2018. Do you think do you think the price has gone up since 2018? I mean, so in 2018, you paid 11K for it, and in 2020, you're getting offered 10K for it by Ammar, but still.
So Drew, you have borrow.io?
Oh, so I paid 0.75 Bitcoin for it. Okay. Which apparently was worth.
So now that's only worth 7,500 or 7K now.
Probably, yeah.
Yep. So it's a profit. But borrow.io, right? Let's talk about this real quick. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. I think actually I might have sold this one. Let's see if it's still on it.
I have borrow.net. So that's this is a good conversation. Which one do you think is more valuable? I think they're to different end users. They're both, you could argue each one is more valuable than the other depending on who the end user is.
Yeah. That's actually a really, let's explore this a little bit. That's actually a great comparison. Let's take it to the only unbiased person here. What do you think, Braden? Borrow.io or borrow.net? Which one, are they comparable or are they completely different animals, or which one's worth more?
.net.
Why?
I agree, by the way. Despite being the one that had the .io, I agree that.
So .net is more valuable because it's a legacy extension and the general public knows .net. .io, most people don't know. Technology companies understand it. Technology companies are getting the .ios because they're a lot less expensive, and so they moved into that space, and so now it's kind of has this tech feel to it, which is great branding on their part. But everybody knows .net. Mm-hmm. Everybody understands that. And I think it's better than the .co. Some people will argue with me on that, but I think .co, you get a lot of leakage to the .com because people don't recognize that it's co and not com. And IO is very tech, but .net there's no confusion between any other extension, and it's been around for 30 years and people recognize it. So
I have a question. How do you balance with money specifically, the end users are more conservative and more likely to go with the legacy .NET.
Right.
.NET would make them feel more comfortable versus all these fintechs in the .io space. How do you
so that's exactly right. I think a new millennial focused startup is going to go with a .io or the .co all day. Now, a more established player is going to pick the .NET. So that's why I say I wouldn't argue, even though I have the .NET, I don't necessarily know that it's more valuable than the .io. I think it depends on who the buyer is, and I'd put them on par. So you know, but I've owned the .NET now for 10 years. I just checked, and I've never gotten a big offer on it. So. Yeah. You know, it just goes to show you. Whereas I think the .io would be easier to sell.
Well, let's see. Hold on. Let's look. I sold.
Love domain name, because what I'm really hearing is opportunity. Great. Right. I mean,
yeah, I mean, we sold borrow for $8,000.
.io.
Yeah, borrow.io for $8,000.
I think you undersold it.
Wow, that was 2016.
Okay, got it.
But I also, and I bought it for $135.
Right, and I think those opportunities still exist if you're digging.
Yeah.
But you know, I think
I'm not sure I agree. I mean, that was back. I bought that on Park.io when there was like 3 people that were bidding for .io domains.
Right. No, I understand, and but you can still find some of those. There is some luck involved, right? It's got to be like.
I get the Park.io newsletter, and every time I see a name, I'm like, "Ooh, that's a nice little .io." Like I'll never own that .com, and it's a nice little name in a niche where I want to have a little exposure. And I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna throw some bids on this one," and I'll go in there, and then I just get, priced totally out of the market. And I'm not the ones that I'm participating in never go for under $1,000. They always end up, and sometimes it's even obscure ones. And I'm like, there was one recently where I owned the .com, and it was like, hold on, it might even be a live auction right now. I think it was yesterday. And I was like, what? Oh, I know, it's Bloop.
Yeah, I'm bidding on that one.
Bloop.com. Like, we own Bloop.com. I mean,
what are you saying? Spell it.
Boop.
BL.
Oh, no. Boop is going right now.
Yeah, and it's
like $500.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, let's get back to NameJet. And first of all, I would like to apologize. I don't know if you guys can hear this or not, but I think I need to buy elephants.org because elephants are jumping on their bed directly above me right now. Really sorry.
Can't hear that.
Good. I keep muting it, but I'm like, okay. NameJet. What happened? I don't know.
So we were finishing off. Braden gave his picks, and then I don't know if Drew's next or I'm next. Okay.
Thank you, Ammar.
All right. So I'll keep it simple. Elephants.org really. I mean, Chinese.org clearly. That's just. I don't know. Probably the buyer is like a language, either a translator, because translation, particularly like high-end translation, is really big money, or like some language learning, school or tutoring or online or something like that. But that's just, I mean, the numbers on the SLD Chinese is so big that's just a really good domain. I just so much potential that at some point you're going to sell that name if you don't pay an insane price. And then elephants.org. I love elephants. And I was going to bring this topic up. I don't know that I want to explore it too much because we're pushing it on time here a little bit. But I love elephants.org. But what I'm confused about is I was bidding in that auction. I think I was the second highest bidder. The last time it came up, which was within the last year, I don't remember exactly when, but I remember it was on there, and it's a trend I've been noticing recently. There's like a ton of names that are coming back on a second time or a third time, not that I have any problem with it. I'm not trying to say there's any, probably will end up with trolls in the comments saying there's a scandal. But it's just strange because there's some names also on GoDaddy right now, like growthinvestor.com and growthinvestments.com, which I also was bidding on, and that was within the last 6 to 12 months. And and there was a lot of activity, and I was bidding, and now it's back on, expired. And so I'm confused. But I love elephants.org. I just it'll probably never sell for a price that would be profitable, but I just love the name. And then I also
do you mean
like
profitable all, or do you mean profitable to you and your snooty 10x plus?
Yeah,
That's
I just don't. Yeah, the latter. I like airc.com. I like that name. I don't know why. It looks good. 2 3-letter words that sort of represent the modes of transportation. Airc.com logistics is one of, let's say, the 2 or 3 biggest boom segments.
Let me spell that for our listeners. Air, A-I-R, and then C like the ocean, S-E-A.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're missing the land.
Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt. Well, I did.
Yeah. But LTL logistics, the land is sort of an entire different category. AirC represents global logistics, which is,
Got it.
freight forwarding, shipping, air freight, all that stuff. Everything that requires customs and freight forwarding, which is where the money is under AirC. So I like it. This isn't $100,000 domain, but it's like one of those names. I like it because it's a name that you actually might be able to get on the cheap, and a couple $100, and the buyer for that name is not going to be small, and probably comes in, has a budget of $15,000, $25,000 for their marketing campaign or their money site or whatever it is they're going to use it for. Maybe even a brand. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Who do we miss?
Me.
Ammar.
Hi.
So, hey. So, elephants are great. I love elephants. I will not buy that name because there's not a lot of upside in it. So names, if we're talking about names that have upside, I like the dance.
So are you saying you're an elephant poacher?
No, I like elephants.
What I heard was you are an elephant poacher. I know that's not the words that came out of your mouth, but that's what I heard. I'm an elephant poacher. No, that's what I heard.
Well, you missed it.
But I'm wrong.
This group is like the best chemistry, I think, on DomainSherpa.
So we're supposed to be helping people make money.
We're not helping anybody do anything. Yeah.
We're not helping anybody.
No.
We're supposed to be helping people make money. So elephants.org is not going to have a good ROI. The dance.com I like. Chinese.org I agree. I think that's a great one. And then so I like Diet Challenge because that's I would guess that's a great hashtag, which we'll get to why I look at hashtag volume when I'm buying. So I like Diet Challenge. I like Good Eating. But those are just kind of brandable. So I actually, the name that I would probably go for, or the names I'd go for on here are The Dance, Chinese.org, and maybe Ecotourist is maybe another good one. Those are the ones.
Particularly now, Ecotourist is good.
Yeah.
Because people need to travel, but they want to be outside. They're not going to be in a hotel. They want to be in some hut somewhere.
Good one. Yeah. Nobody mentioned Green Phoenix, but in Phoenix, it is literally, it's called the Valley of the Sun. I think if there's going to be green something, Phoenix is a great place.
Well, that would be like a name for a dispensary, right? So if you can get Green Phoenix for $500, you could probably sell it for $5K. Right?
But also, that's where it's going. But the Phoenix is also rising from ashes. I think that.
No, it's a good brand.
For me, that's my favorite name on the list. And you have
it's a great
solar industry or cannabis industry.
No, it's a great brand for sure. It just, depends on, I guess, how much it goes for.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. You've talked me into back ordering this name, but the problem is that I'm not as smart as Ammar, and so I will always alliterate the O and the E in Phoenix. I just can't get that right. Save my life.
That's why you need to have a Josephine on your team.
In 2012, when I first joined Media Options, you created my password, and it was something with the word Phoenix in it, but spelled wrong.
Backwards. Yeah. Phoenix, there was a Phoenix name in auction. I don't know if it's a NameJet or a GoDaddy, maybe with the E and the O transposed.
Yeah, I think I won it. I think I won it. No, I'm not even playing. I'm pretty sure I won that name.
Like once a year, I'll email Drew and he's like, hey, I just bought this. And I'll email him back and be like, that's a typo, right? And he's like, what?
Yeah. So for the audience out there, anybody with a misspelled name, Drew's your buyer.
Hey, Drew, I have weird with the E and the I transposed if you want that. I think I have weird.co.
Here's your moment to buy, Drew. You want to buy live.
There is, there's a whole economy out there that's being left behind of people who, spell those things wrong. We're an underappreciated part of the economy.
Maybe not the niche you're looking for.
Oh man.
Oh, okay. We did everything. So normally this is where we go to the third section, but this has been super long and super full of all sorts of insights. How much time do you guys want? You want to keep talking? You want to call it quits?
I actually have to go because I have to give somebody a ride to a birthday party.
You are leaving your home and birthday parties?
Yeah, no, we so, well, I mean, birthday party is like 4 people, but birthday party is a little different these days.
Right.
But no, we're basically 90% out the door of quarantine. We're exploring the world again. We've got a select group of friends that we have been hanging out with and having dinners with, and I'm not really down with going to a restaurant. I'm happy to sit outside, but I'm not really down with sitting inside. Yeah, I don't know.
We did that for the first time last night. We sat outside in a restaurant with the first restaurant meal in 4 months. And we sat outside and it felt good. I got to say, it felt really nice to be out.
We did it about 15, within the last 3 weeks, like three weekends ago. We went to the beach and went to one of the beach, amazing seafood restaurants. And you're sitting outside on a deck in the sun at the beach, eating fresh fish. And it was like, this is great. And
just got to be careful.
And it was like, I'm going to do a little more of this. And then, and then it was the next weekend we did the same, but with another couple. And then, there was like, we found that we've got a handful of couples that have been very cautious and everybody's, works from home. And so we said, all right, let's re-engage in the world. And with our vitamin D kryptonite.
Right.
So, I'm not doing large, gatherings.
Kryptonite hurts you, doesn't protect you, right?
Well, but if I have the kryptonite because I'm Lex Luthor, man. If the virus is Superman,
listen, he's got to do something with his chops. I don't know, grind it. What is it? What is Tessa's thing? Grinding your chops. He grinds his chops on kryptonite.
This is going downhill very quickly.
Okay. This was really, really, really fabulous. You guys are the best. Thank you for taking the time. See you next time.
All right.
Bye,
everybody.
Thank you, everybody.